Welcome to Starlight Sci-Fi, where the cosmos is boundless, and the stories ignite the imagination. Buckle up as we explore a tale of resilience, mystery, and the unexpected superiority of humankind. This is why humans are the only species allowed to skip safety briefings. It's standard protocol for every sentient species entering the United Galactic Alliance to attend safety briefings. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and survival often hinges on following the rules. Yet one peculiar exception exists: humans. The only species exempt from these essential lessons. Why? What sets them apart? The answer is stranger than you think. When humans were first invited to join the United Galactic Alliance, UGA, expectations were low. For centuries, the UGA had cataloged thousands of intelligent species, each one carefully evaluated before admission. By the time humanity was discovered, the Alliance had perfected its protocols for new members, including mandatory safety briefings. These sessions covered universal dangers ranging from black hole anomalies and volatile planetary environments to predatory alien species. It was an essential process designed to ensure that every new member species could safely integrate into the galactic community. Humans, however, were unlike any species the UGA had encountered. Most new members approached the Alliance with a mix of awe and trepidation, eager to learn from the advanced civilizations that had conquered the stars. Humans, by contrast, arrived with an air of confidence that bordered on arrogance. They saw the UGA's vast technological wonders not as unattainable marvels, but as puzzles to be solved and improved upon. It all began with what the UGA initially dismissed as a clerical error. When humans were scheduled for their first safety briefing, no representatives showed up. The Alliance assumed the invitation had been lost in translation, or that the humans were simply late, a common issue with new member species unfamiliar with galactic timekeeping. But when the humans skipped the second, third, and fourth briefings, the UGA began to grow concerned. This wasn't a matter of misunderstanding. Humans were deliberately ignoring the protocols. To the UGA, this was unprecedented. Even the most advanced species took the safety briefing seriously. These sessions had saved countless lives, teaching newcomers how to navigate the many dangers of interstellar travel and survival. For humans to bypass this critical step seemed not just reckless, but suicidal. But then something strange happened. While most species struggled in their early days within the Alliance, humans thrived. They adapted to unfamiliar planetary environments with startling ease, survived dangerous encounters with apex predators, and navigated the complexities of galactic politics with cunning and charm. Where other species relied on precise instructions and rigid procedures, humans seemed to operate on instinct, improvising solutions to problems as they arose. The first major incident that caught the UGA's attention occurred on Arian 7, a planet known for its unstable ecosystems. The environment shifted so rapidly that even experienced explorers struggled to survive. A team of human scientists, sent to study the planet's biosphere, ignored every warning issued by the UGA. They ventured into areas deemed off-limits, disregarded protective equipment protocols, and even consumed local flora and fauna against all advice. By the time the UGA dispatched a rescue team, they expected to find nothing but wreckage. Instead, they found the humans thriving. Not only had they adapted to the environment, but they had also cataloged new species, devised survival techniques, and even built a temporary settlement using local materials. This event, and others like it, forced the UGA to reconsider its assumptions. Humans weren't surviving by luck. They possessed an uncanny ability to navigate chaos, an innate skill no safety briefing could teach. It was as if their evolutionary path had prepared them not for stability, but for uncertainty itself. The Alliance was baffled but intrigued. Rather than punish the humans for their defiance, the UGA decided to observe. What began as a bureaucratic oversight would soon become one of the most studied phenomena in galactic history. The Glass Nebula was infamous across the galaxy, a shimmering, hypnotic expanse of swirling gases and fractured light. Beneath its beauty lay a deadly labyrinth of unstable gravitational currents, plasma storms, and shifting microsingularities. It was a place where even the most advanced navigational systems struggled, and where countless ships, crewed by the finest pilots in the galaxy, had been lost. To traverse the nebula required years of training, flawless adherence to strict protocols, and an unshakable discipline. For this reason, every species attempting the route was required to complete a rigorous safety briefing, meticulously detailing every hazard and the procedures to avoid catastrophe. When the United Galactic Alliance decided to send humans through the Glass Nebula, it wasn't out of necessity but curiosity. Humanity's blatant disregard for safety briefings had already earned them a reputation for recklessness. The Alliance believed that this trial would expose the limits of human adaptability. Surely even the humans couldn't conquer a region that had defeated species with far greater technological and intellectual advantages. The humans, however, approached the challenge with their usual mix of enthusiasm and audacity. They were given the option to attend the safety briefing and opportunity to study detailed simulations of the nebula's dangers, but they declined. "We'll figure it out as we go," they said, brushing off the warnings with a casual confidence that left UGA officials both baffled and alarmed. As their ships entered the nebula, the tension among the observers was palpable. Every other species that had successfully navigated this treacherous region had done so by rigidly adhering to predetermined flight paths. Deviations were fatal. Yet the humans chose not to follow these routes at all. Instead, they relied on their instincts, trusting their senses and intuition over any pre-planned guidelines. Their methods seemed chaotic. They piloted their ships with rapid, unpredictable movements, dodging gravitational shifts and plasma storms with reactions that seemed almost too fast for conscious thought. To outside observers, it appeared as though the humans were improvising in real time an approach that should have been suicidal. But as the hours passed, it became clear that the humans weren't just surviving, they were thriving. Where other species relied on data and caution, humans seemed to thrive on gut feelings and risk. They adapted to every new challenge with startling speed, treating each unexpected danger as an opportunity to innovate rather than a threat to avoid. One human ship encountered a sudden gravitational anomaly that had previously destroyed dozens of vessels. Instead of retreating, they used the anomaly to slingshot their craft forward, cutting hours off their journey. Another ship, caught in a plasma storm, deployed reflective plating made from improvised materials to deflect the worst of the energy, a technique no species had ever attempted. When the human fleet emerged from the nebula unscathed, the galactic observers were left speechless. Not a single ship had been lost. While other species celebrated survival as a triumph, the humans laughed and exchanged stories of their fun ride. The UGI initially dismissed the feat as luck, but deep down they couldn't ignore the implications. Humans had done more than survive the Glass Nebula. They had redefined what survival could look like. The event would go down in history as the first real test of humanity's unique capabilities. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget. Venrax 12 was a mining colony on the far edge of UGA-controlled space, a planet rich in valuable mineral deposits, but plagued by dangerous natural phenomena. The most feared among these was the Siltstorm, a planetary event where winds of incredible speed churned up fine, razor-sharp particles of metallic dust from the surface, turning the atmosphere into a swirling tempest of destruction. Siltstorms struck without warning, scouring exposed surfaces, clogging machinery, and suffocating anything unlucky enough to be caught outside. For this reason, the United Galactic Alliance required all personnel on Venrax 12 to undergo comprehensive safety briefings upon arrival. The protocol was clear. When a Siltstorm struck, every individual was to retreat to underground shelters equipped with reinforced air filters and oxygen reserves. Under no circumstances was anyone to attempt surface movement during the storm. These protocols had been developed after years of trial and error, with countless lives lost to the unforgiving storms. When the Siltstorm hit, it came with an intensity that surpassed even the worst predictions. Workers from 5 different species were trapped across various surface facilities. Communications were severed almost immediately as the storm's metallic particles disrupted long-range signals. Panic swept through the colony. Most workers managed to retreat to the designated shelters, but a group of human miners and their multi-species colleagues were stranded in an exposed facility far from safety. By all accounts, their fate should have been sealed. Every safety guideline dictated that survivors in their position should hunker down, conserve their oxygen, and wait for rescue that, given the severity of the storm, could take days to arrive. But the humans didn't wait. They acted with a calmness that bordered on defiance, moving through the chaos as though they had been trained for this exact situation. In truth, they hadn't. What they had was something far more valuable: adaptability. The humans quickly assessed the situation taking stock of their surroundings and available resources. The facility's structural integrity was failing, and the oxygen reserves were dangerously low. Instead of panicking or freezing, they devised a plan, one that ignored every protocol. Using the facility's mining equipment, the humans began tunneling through the ground beneath them, creating a makeshift passage toward the nearest shelter. They worked with speed and precision, cutting through the rocky terrain while simultaneously reinforcing the walls of their tunnel with scavenged materials. The other species watched in stunned silence, uncertain whether to help or stay out of the way. When one worker, a Sarnian, questioned the humans' decision to ignore the safety protocols, the human simply responded, "Those protocols don't get us out of here." It was not arrogance, but a pragmatic understanding that survival sometimes required breaking the rules. As the storm raged above them, the humans completed their tunnel and began leading the group toward safety. Along the way, they encountered other stranded workers from different species, pulling them into the tunnel and guiding them to the shelter. The journey was perilous, with sections of the tunnel collapsing under the shifting ground, but the humans adapted to every obstacle, finding solutions where others saw only doom. By the time the storm subsided, over 100 lives had been saved, all thanks to the humans' ingenuity and refusal to adhere to conventional wisdom. When the UGA investigated the incident, they were astonished by the humans' actions. The tunnel they had dug was deemed reckless and structurally unsound by engineers, yet it had held. The decision to move through the storm was labeled highly dangerous, yet it had succeeded. The humans had broken every rule, defied every expectation, and emerged as heroes. The Siltstorm incident became another case study in the growing dossier on humanity. Once again, they had proven that their greatest strength wasn't in following protocols, but in rewriting them to fit the moment. It was a lesson the UJ could neither explain nor ignore. Humans weren't just survivors, they were catalysts for survival. At the edge of the Lorexian cluster, a remote research station orbited an unassuming white dwarf star. The station was home to an international team of scientists from across the United Galactic Alliance, tasked with studying a rare quantum anomaly, a miniature black hole that had appeared unexpectedly within the system. Known as the Singularity Enigma, the phenomenon was stable but poorly understood, and its mere existence defied several established laws of physics. The UGA had poured resources into this project, dispatching top experts from dozens of species to decode the anomaly's secrets. Among them was a single human scientist, Dr. Ilara Quinn. Humans were still considered newcomers to the UGA, and their inclusion in the project was viewed by some as a token gesture rather than a necessity. The prevailing sentiment among the other researchers was that humans, with their erratic methods and lack of respect for protocol, would contribute little to such an advanced endeavor. For months, the team meticulously studied the singularity, collecting data and running simulations. The anomaly was small but powerful, its gravity exerting a measurable pull on the station's orbit. Protocols were in place for every conceivable emergency, from containment breaches to sudden gravitational surges. The station's automated systems were equipped with redundant fail-safes, ensuring that no one would be in danger as long as everyone followed the rules. Then, the impossible happened. The singularity, previously stable, began to destabilize. Without warning, its gravitational pull intensified, dragging the station closer to the star it orbited. The automated systems failed almost immediately, overwhelmed by the unexpected surge. Panic spread through the station as researchers scrambled to execute the emergency protocols. The guidelines were clear: evacuate the station, jettison the research data, and let the anomaly collapse naturally. But the evacuation systems malfunctioned, leaving the team trapped. The gravitational pull continued to increase, causing structural damage to the station. With the star's heat rising to lethal levels, survival seemed impossible. While others descended into chaos, Dr. Quinn acted. Ignoring the protocols and the growing panic, she commandeered the station's engineering deck, where a collection of research drones and unused equipment were stored. The other researchers had dismissed the drones as irrelevant to the crisis, but Quinn saw their potential. Using parts scavenged from the drones and the station's auxiliary systems, she hastily assembled a series of makeshift thrusters. It was a reckless plan, one no safety manual would have recommended. The thrusters weren't designed to move a structure as massive as the station, and there was no time to test her calculations. But Quinn didn't hesitate. She deployed the thrusters, positioning them around the station to counteract the singularity's pull. The initial activation was chaotic, causing the station to lurch violently, but Quinn adjusted on the fly, recalibrating thrust angles and power levels in real time. Bit by bit, the station's trajectory stabilized. The other researchers watched in stunned disbelief as Quinn's improvised solution worked. Against all odds, the station began to drift away from the singularity's gravitational influence. By the time the anomaly collapsed in on itself, the station was safe, though heavily damaged. When the UGA's rescue fleet arrived, they expected to find no survivors. Instead, they found the team alive, albeit shaken, and Dr. Quinn's hastily constructed thrusters still humming with residual energy. In the aftermath, the UGA conducted a formal review of the incident. Their analysis concluded that Quinn's actions had been highly unconventional and that her methods had no basis in existing protocols. Yet they couldn't argue with the results. Her instincts, improvisation, and refusal to accept conventional limitations had saved every life on the station. The singularity enigma became another chapter in the growing legend of humanity's uncanny ability to survive the impossible. For the other species of the UGA, it was both awe-inspiring and unsettling. Humans didn't just thrive in chaos, they seemed to prefer it. Deep within the desolate regions of the Ingenious expanse lay Alaska Laran, a seemingly barren moon orbiting a gas giant. Its surface appeared lifeless, but below the crust existed one of the galaxy's most intricate ecosystems, a sprawling subterranean hive of insectoid creatures known as the Scalera. The Scalera were a eusocial species, functioning as a single, highly coordinated entity. They were usually peaceful but fiercely protective of their territory. The United Galactic Alliance had established a research outpost near the hive to study their unique biology, which offered promising insights into advanced neural networking and bioengineering. The research team, composed of specialists from 6 different species, had operated on strict protocols to avoid disturbing the hive. Vibrations, sound, and even the faintest shifts in electromagnetic fields could agitate the Scalera. Any misstep could provoke an aggressive response from the hive, potentially resulting in an all-out attack. To avoid this, every action on the moon was meticulously planned and monitored. Then the accident happened. A seismic tremor, triggered by natural tectonic activity, disrupted the delicate balance. A research drill, positioned near a major Scalera chamber, malfunctioned during the tremor and emitted a burst of energy into the hive. The reaction was immediate and catastrophic. Thousands of Scalera soldiers swarmed toward the outpost, their movements synchronized in a terrifying wave of precision. The hive mind had been provoked, and the research team had no time to escape. The situation seemed hopeless. The outpost's defenses were designed to repel smaller threats, not an organized attack by an entire hive. Protocols dictated that the team should barricade themselves inside the facility and wait for a UGA rescue fleet to intervene. But rescue was days away, and the hive was already tearing through the outer perimeter. Amid the chaos, the humans on the team began to act, while the other researchers froze. Overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the crisis, the humans sprang into motion. They didn't follow the emergency procedures, which dictated passive containment. Instead, they devised an audacious plan to communicate directly with the Scalera hive mind. Using the colony's equipment and some salvaged components from damaged research drones, the humans constructed a makeshift neural transmitter. The idea was radical. If the Scalera functioned as a unified mind, then it might be possible to transmit a signal that mimicked a hive's own communication patterns, essentially a ceasefire message. It was an untested theory, dismissed in earlier research proposals as too risky and likely to provoke further aggression. The other researchers watched in stunned disbelief as the humans worked. They improvised rapidly, adapting the transmitter to broadcast on multiple frequencies simultaneously, each calibrated to mimic Scalera neural signals based on earlier studies. There was no guarantee it would work, but they had no other options. As the Scalera breached the inner perimeter, the humans activated the transmitter. For a few agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then, miraculously, the swarm halted. The Scalera soldiers froze in place, their antennae twitching as if processing the signal. Slowly, the hive began to retreat, pulling back into the tunnels beneath the surface. The immediate crisis was over, but the humans didn't stop there. Using the transmitter, they continued broadcasting, refining the signal to establish a rudimentary link with the hive mind. Over the next several hours, they managed to send calming pulses, effectively re-establishing a state of neutrality with the Scalera. By the time the UGA rescue fleet arrived, the humans had not only diffused the crisis, but had also opened the door to a new level of interspecies communication. The incident was hailed as a breakthrough in xenobiology, but it also deepened the mystery of humanity. Other species adhered to the safety of protocols, relying on centuries of established methods. Humans, however, thrived in moments where no manual existed, where survival hinged on creativity and audacity. The hive crisis became yet another example of why humans were unlike any other species in the galaxy. They didn't just adapt to chaos, they embraced it, transforming even the direst situations into opportunities for innovation. The void anomaly was a region of space that defied all conventional understanding. A vast expanse devoid of stars, planets, or any detectable matter, it seemed to swallow light and energy alike. Ships that ventured too close often disappeared without a trace, and those few that returned brought back garbled data and chilling tales of spatial distortions. The UJ deemed the region off limits, cordoning it off with warning beacons and assigning it the highest hazard rating in the Galactic Registry. Yet, despite its dangers, the void anomaly's mysteries drew scientific curiosity. The Yuga eventually authorized a controlled expedition, deploying an advanced research vessel, the Aegis Horizon, to study the phenomenon from a safe distance. The crew was composed of experts from over a dozen species, each carefully chosen for their expertise in astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and spatial navigation. Among them were 3 humans engineers assigned to maintain the ship's systems. The mission proceeded cautiously at first. The Aegis Horizon maintained a safe orbit around the anomaly, deploying drones and probes to collect data. The results were baffling. Time appeared to bend within the void, with probes reporting inconsistent durations for their missions. Signals sent into the region were distorted or lost entirely, and the gravitational readings fluctuated wildly without any apparent cause. Then, on the 6th day, disaster struck. A sudden surge of energy erupted from the void anomaly, enveloping the Aegis Horizon in a field of destabilizing quantum interference. Systems across the ship began to fail as the interference scrambled the vessel's power grid and navigation systems. Automated protocols attempted to correct the malfunctions, but the anomaly's influence rendered them useless. The crew scrambled to follow the emergency procedures. Protocol dictated that all personnel retreat to shielded compartments, while the ship attempted to reboot its systems. But as the interference grew stronger, it became clear that the Aegis Horizon wouldn't survive without immediate intervention. The ship's core stabilizer, a crucial component for maintaining its structural integrity, was on the verge of collapse. The human engineers didn't wait for orders. While the rest of the crew followed protocol, the humans rushed to the engineering bay. They bypassed the automated systems, manually overriding the ship's safety locks to gain access to the stabilizer. The stabilizer was a marvel of UGA technology, designed to function with precision under normal conditions, but it wasn't built for the chaos of the void anomaly. The humans immediately began improvising. Using tools and spare parts scavenged from the bay, they reconfigured the stabilizer to operate at reduced efficiency, prioritizing functionality over precision. It was dangerous work. The interference field made the environment unstable, with fluctuating gravity and random bursts of electromagnetic energy. The humans worked tirelessly, ignoring the risks as they modified the stabilizer. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew monitored from their compartments, stunned by the humans' apparent disregard for the protocols designed to protect them. Yet, against all odds, the stabilizer began to respond. The humans rerouted power from non-essential systems, using the ship's thrusters to generate a counterforce that helped stabilize its position. As the stabilizer regained functionality, the ship's systems began to reboot. The interference field started to recede, and the Aegis Horizon slowly pulled away from the anomaly's grip. When the crisis ended, the humans emerged from the engineering bay, covered in burns and soot but triumphant. The stabilizer was barely holding together, its modifications deemed reckless by the UJA review board. Yet, without those modifications, the ship and its crew would have been lost. The Void Anomaly incident added another chapter to the growing narrative of humanity's unique role in the galaxy. Where others saw chaos as insurmountable, humans saw it as a challenge to overcome. Their ability to think beyond the confines of protocol, to adapt and innovate in the most hostile environments, continued to astonish their peers. The UJ realized that humans weren't just lucky or reckless, they were uniquely equipped to thrive where others faltered. And as the galaxy watched humanity's star rise, one truth became increasingly clear. There was no problem too great, no anomaly too dangerous, for the species that embraced chaos itself. The Galactic Summit was held on Zorath Prime, a world renowned for its towering crystalline spires and iridescent skies. Leaders from every species within the United Galactic Alliance gathered to address a dire, unprecedented threat: the Stellar Reclaimer. A colossal, ancient machine of unknown origin, the Reclaimer moved through space like a predatory force of nature, systematically dismantling entire star systems. Stars were extinguished, planets reduced to rubble, and all life in its path was obliterated. The UGA's most advanced fleets had failed to stop the Reclaimer. Every weapon they unleashed against it was absorbed or deflected, and every attempt to hack its systems ended in catastrophic failure. In desperation, the summit had convened to consider the unthinkable, abandoning entire sectors of the galaxy to the machine's inexorable march. Among the attendees were humans, a relatively small delegation compared to the ancient and powerful species present. They were seated far from the central podium, where the most influential voices debated strategies and proposed evacuations. Humanity, still considered an emerging member of the Alliance, was expected to listen quietly. The debates raged for hours. Some argued for mass evacuations, others for constructing barriers of automated defense systems, and a few even suggested surrendering in hopes the Reclaimer might spare them. None of the plans inspired confidence. The Reclaimer was too vast, too advanced, and too unpredictable for conventional approaches to work. Then, against all protocol, a human stepped forward. The representative, an engineer named Captain Adrian Wells, requested the floor. Her interruption was met with skepticism and even disdain, but the chairperson reluctantly allowed her to speak. She presented an audacious plan, one that defied every standard of logic and safety. Instead of trying to stop the Reclaimer head-on, she proposed boarding it. The room erupted into chaos. Boarding the Reclaimer was unthinkable. It was a machine the size of a small moon, protected by layers of impenetrable armor and automated defenses. No ship had ever approached it and survived. But Wells argued that if the Reclaimer was as ancient as it appeared, it might not be as perfect as it seemed. Somewhere deep within its massive structure, there had to be a flaw, a vulnerability, or a command system that could be exploited. The summit voted overwhelmingly against the plan. It was too dangerous, too reckless. Yet, in true human fashion, the humans acted anyway. A small, heavily modified vessel, the Dauntless, was dispatched with a crew of mostly humans and a few brave volunteers from other species. The ship was equipped with a patchwork of experimental technology cloaking devices, adaptive shields, and a propulsion system cobbled together from half-tested prototypes. The journey to the Reclaimer was harrowing. As they approached the machine, its defenses activated, bombarding them with energy pulses and swarms of automated drones. The humans piloted the ship with unparalleled precision, weaving through the onslaught and using their improvised technology to deflect attacks. Upon reaching the surface of the Reclaimer, the crew discovered a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, each filled with incomprehensible machinery. Progress was slow and dangerous, with automated guardians at every turn. The team pressed on, guided by intuition and sheer determination, until they found what they had been searching for: the Reclaimer's control core. The core was massive, a swirling nexus of energy and ancient coding. It seemed alive, pulsating with an eerie rhythm that filled the air with a low hum. Conventional hacking was impossible. Every attempt was countered almost instantly. But the humans didn't give up. They improvised, creating a feedback loop that overwhelmed the core with conflicting commands. The core fought back, generating waves of electromagnetic disruption that threatened to destroy the team. But in its efforts to purge the intrusion, the Reclaimer exposed its own vulnerability, an ancient fail-safe protocol buried deep within its system. With seconds to spare, the humans triggered the fail-safe, causing the Reclaimer to deactivate entirely. The galaxy was saved, and humanity had once again rewritten the rules of survival. The Yuga could hardly believe what had happened. Humans had faced an impossible threat, ignored the protocols that dictated surrender, and emerged victorious through sheer ingenuity and audacity. The Stellar Reclaimer incident became a defining moment for humanity's role in the galaxy. They were no longer seen as reckless newcomers, but as a species uniquely capable of solving problems no one else could. And as the galaxy celebrated, one question lingered in the minds of every species. If humanity could overcome even the greatest threats, what else were they capable of? From instinct to ingenuity, humans have proven time and again that rules don't define survival, courage, and creativity do. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to explore more incredible stories from the stars. This is Starlight Sci-Fi, signing off. Until next time, keep reaching for the cosmos.